It's a nice, warm, too warm, but damp early November day. We've finally got some rain. We had an inch a couple weeks ago, which was a nice start. And then in the last couple of days, we've had probably close to 2 inches now. Nice, soft, gentle rains for the most part. So they're soaking in. So finally, I think our drought is over, I think. First project I want to show you, I'm going to show you some projects today. Our Thursday morning volunteer crew, starting back in late summer, I think, and then into the fall, they worked several Thursdays making new Emma's chairs and Emma's benches. Some for the bookstore to sell, the chairs, but in large part to replace the old ones that were falling apart. Our oldest chairs and benches are over 20 years old, and they sit out, of course, all year in all the weather. So some of them were just kind of worn out. So we replaced some chairs and benches, added some new ones, so we had more. And also the company that was cleaning the roofs and the walls on some of the buildings also washed the older chairs and benches. And they came out really nice. They were full of lichen and moss and looking pretty tired, but they got a new lease on life now too. But I just wanted to mention our Thursday crew and the nice work they did on, I think, making 6 or 7 or 8 chairs and I think 6 benches. Here's another project that our Thursday crew worked on for several Thursday mornings in a row, the schoolhouse path. They put down a layer of gravel to cover all the trip hazards, the roots sticking out and the rocks sticking out. And people have been concerned since this was done a few weeks ago that this is going to be the permanent path from now on. People are so used to all these many years to a sawdust path going down to the schoolhouse. And that is still the plan. Next spring, the Thursday crew, first thing, we're going to get a load of sawdust from a sawmill down near Sturgeon Bay, and we're going to top dress with a nice layer of sawdust on top of this gravel. So this isn't permanent. It'll be here, but you won't see it starting next spring sometime. Getting sawdust has become a problem for us. For years, we used a sawmill near Bailey's Harbor and got it for free, just had to pay for the delivery. And then they went out of business maybe 5-6 years ago. And then we had one more source. A local excavator had some that we used at least once, maybe twice. But now we do have access to this sawmill down near Sturgeon Bay. So that's the plan, to cover up this gravel on both this main path and the side path that goes down to the parking lot with sawdust. And if we can get enough sawdust, we may do another short trail or two somewhere, but this is the main one, the schoolhouse path. This past Saturday morning, for the first time in probably about 22 years, we had landscape architecture students from the University of Wisconsin-Madison here, and they spend part of their time just kind of absorbing the place, and I think they do some class work, and then they spend part of their time doing some service work for the clearing. So they worked on several projects on Saturday morning, this being one of them. This sunset ring was started, I think, 2 summers ago by our Thursday morning crew, but it wasn't high enough. So the students with their instructors and TAs put another layer of stone on top so it's proper seating height. So this is right here at above the stairs going down to the beach. We might do a little bit of pruning to get a little bit better view through to the water and the sunset. But we have a kind of a rule at the clearing: anything between this escarpment path and the edge of the escarpment, those arborvitae, those trees in general, we don't touch. We prune them maybe. I should back up. We don't remove. We prune them maybe, but we don't take any down. These are, many of you know, some of the oldest trees east of the Rocky Mountains in North America, the arborvitae that grow along the edge of the Niagara Escarpment. So they're the oldest ones that we aged 4 or 5 years ago with an increment borer. And then my daughter, who has younger eyes than me, counted the rings with a hand lens, I remember, was I think 473 years old. We're going to do some more of that boring someday. It just takes a little pencil diameter core out of the tree. So I'm convinced we have trees that are probably much closer to 1,000 years old. So we maybe do some pruning sometimes, but we don't take any of them out. But this is that nice finish now, sunset ring on top of the stairs going down to the beach. The UW-Madison group did this sunset ring from scratch on Saturday morning. I've always had this area kind of in mind for what could be our last sunset ring, at least along the edge, because they're pretty well spaced now. This was a bigger opening. So they did a really nice job. Not room for a big one like the one up by the beach stairs, but they were very, very diligent about making sure that there were no wobbles and that it had the right arc and that they had the right stones on top. So nice job, I thought, on Saturday morning on this sunset ring by the UW-Madison landscape architecture students. And we'll do a little more pruning here to get the window out to Ellison Bluff a little more open, and then probably a little more pruning here to the sunset right over here. The UW students also did some work on 2 view sheds or vistas from the workshop forge area. This is the front porch of the forge looking straight west. And you really can't tell because it needs more work right at the bottom, some pruning. But this opened up quite a bit. They just limbed up trees. They didn't take any trees out down there. This project got started 2 summers ago by Bob Gracie's Jensen landscape class. So part of the group on Saturday worked a little more on this, just limbing trees up. But you can see if you look straight down to the west here that it's still at the very bottom. That's where we have to do some pruning of some of those escarpment arborvitae, not removals. We just prune them up a bit to open up the water a little bit more. So this is still a work in process here.